In the space of 3 months, Britain has seen as many cases of children's hepatitis as would normally be seen in a year. In total, 114 children, usually under the age of 5, have developed acute hepatitis of unknown origin, to give it the description used by doctors. 10 youngsters were sufficiently unwell to require liver transplants. 1 has died. Why the rise in numbers? Well, it may be a function of lockdown. Kids were not mixing, nor were they sharing infections and strengthening their natural immunity. It may alternatively have been that the offending pathogen has mutated to pose a greater threat. Joining me now, Professor of Primary Care and Public Health at Imperial College, Azim Majid. Azim, thanks so much for your time. Are we right to see this as a byproduct of lockdown? May it be something else?
Hello, Colin. I think, as you said, it's one possible theory. So during lockdown, we had quite low rates of many viral infections, which meant children's immunity wasn't at the level you might expect during normal times when they're exposed to viruses regularly. And that may have led to some weakening of immunity in children and therefore more serious infection now. But it's one of many theories. Other theories include the fact the virus may have mutated, the adenovirus, which has been linked to many of these cases, may mutate into a more serious form. It may be due to a poison or a drug, for example, kids have been exposed to. It may be two viruses interacting. So a number of different theories which may account for this concerning rise in hepatitis in young children. So as yet, we're not entirely clear of the cause, but we need to be aware of the various causes and work towards finding out the actual cause so we can take action to address this serious problem.
And is there a particular reason why we're talking about such young children being affected in this way? And in a way that, I mentioned the fatality, but for getting on for a dozen kids to have liver transplants, a major surgical intervention.
That is unusual. So normally with hepatitis, it's the older people who tend to be more severely affected. So when you get a virus causing hepatitis, generally it's fairly mild in children, and it's the older people, adults, who risk a more serious illness. So this is unusual to have so many kids affected seriously. And again, we need to really research this and really understand the causes and find out why it's going on, and also look elsewhere in the world and see if this is something going on in the UK or is this more of a global phenomena.
Lay people like me would sort of think if you keep kids at that age when they are, maximally spreading germs around, and if you stop that process, that very natural, process has been happening for 500,000 years from happening for a year or two with interruptions, there are going to be knock-on effects from that. That feels like a reasonable assumption.
Yeah, it is, one theory, and clearly any lockdown comes with health, social and economic costs, so it's not a cost-free option. So in the past, we've never had this kind of lockdown previously, so this is quite a new thing we've had in the UK and globally. So the full effects, aren't fully understood of this lockdown, of lockdowns and how they impact children's immunity. So it may take some time, perhaps even years, to fully understand how this pandemic has affected children's long-term immunity from other viruses other than from COVID-19.